Akaroa is a small town on Banks Peninsula in the Canterbury region of the South Island of New Zealand, situated within a harbour of the same name. By 8 in the morning on January 24, the Celebrity Solstice anchored in Akaroa, and we were tendered to the quaint village, a historic French and British settlement nestled in the heart of an ancient volcano. The lighthouse, which was in service from 1880 to 1980. Akaora's town crier, Steve Lelievre, a direct descendant of the first French settlers in Akaora, is an enthusiastic advocate of the village's history and heritage. He will get into costume to meet the cruise ships and talk to people around town. Back in 1840, a shipload of French emigrants, including Steve Lelievre's great-great-grandfather, landed on the Banks Peninsula. Although they were fended off by the British forces, a core group remained. The entire harbour is the caldera of an extinct volcano. The name Akaora is Kai Tahu Maori for Long Harbour. The pier is one of the main attractions along the waterfront of the Akaora harbour. The Pohutukawa tree flowers from November to January with a peak in mid to late December, hence the nickname New Zealand Christmas tree. Then we were off to explore the village with its colonial architecture, galleries, craft stores and cafes. Monument commemorating the 100th anniversary of the arrival of the French settlers. This war memorial honors the Akaroa residents who fought and died in World Wars I and II. I attended Sunday Mass at St. Patrick's Church, built in 1865. The front porch was added in 1886 and the bell tower in 1893. Whaling tripod used by Captain Hempelman Peraki in 1835 for boiling whale blubber to recover the oil therein. Panoramic view of the sandy beach in Akaroa Harbour. Anais is a long-established family business and one of Akaroa's iconic attractions. The old shipping office, a historic building that has been transformed into beautiful accommodations. Then it was time to board the tour bus that would drive us to Christchurch, 75 miles away. The 90-minute ride over winding roads across the Banks Peninsula offered spectacular views. For those of you who have little idea of where the Banks Peninsula is, here is a bit of help. If you look at the map of New Zealand, you will want to look on the South Island about halfway down on the eastern coast. Banks Peninsula is on the east coast of the South Island. The bit of land that pokes out there is the Banks Peninsula, which is an ancient volcanic cone. One of the walls of the cone collapsed and the seas came in, forming an inner harbor. If you look at the second map, which shows details of the Banks Peninsula, you can see the long harbor and of course the Akaroa village. Now that we are all well situated, let us enjoy the drive across the Banks Peninsula to Christchurch. This old volcanic caldera with picture-perfect hills and countless secluded bays provides lots of great photo opportunities. High up from the hills, Akaroa Harbor is a magnificent sight. The following pictures were captured from the advantage point of the tour bus window. This is one of the many plantation forests of various sizes now found in all regions of New Zealand except Central Otago and Fiordland. Rough wood products are exported from New Zealand primarily to China, South Korea and Japan. And so we made it to Christchurch, a city devastated by 4,558 earthquakes recorded in the Canterbury region above a magnitude 3.0 from September 4, 2010 to September 4, 2014. Over 1,000 buildings in the central business district, which is about a third of the total buildings within the 4 avenues, were demolished following the earthquakes. Christchurch Cathedral, before and after pictures. Christchurch is the largest city in the South Island of New Zealand. and is the third most populous urban area behind Auckland and Wellington. The heritage Christchurch Hotel, built in the opulence of an Italian high Renaissance palazzo, opened in 1913. Inspired by the cereal-rich paddocks of the Canterbury Plains, this sculpture comprises 8 13-meter steel poles, adorned with 153 street lamps, arranged in the form of a wheat sheath. The Canterbury Museum is located in the city's cultural precinct. It was established in 1867 with Julius von Haast, whose collection formed its core, as its first director. The building is registered as a Historic Place Category 1 by Heritage New Zealand. Visiting the museum. On 16 December 1850, the first Canterbury Association of Immigrants climbed the Port Hills and looked down at their new land. The newcomers set about transforming the landscape, draining the swamps and building the city. By 1900, Christchurch was seen as the most English of all New Zealand cities. Styles of architecture, fashion and social pastimes all looked back to home. Streets were lit by gas and some shops had their own electricity supply. Horse and steam trams connected outlying suburbs to the city center, and the railway linked Christchurch to other towns. On sunny days, cyclists thronged the roads, but the horse was still the main means of transport. The favored location for Maori settlement in the post-moa hunting period was near defensible headlands with good fishing and gardening nearby. This scene shows a possible reconstruction of the site sometime in the 18th century. Here a woman is weaving a flax rain cape while the other one preserves pigeons in their own fat for storage in the raised food store. Rock overhangs were popular as shelters during inland hunting trips between 700 and 200 years ago. The walls and ceilings were frequently decorated with distinctive drawings done with charcoal and red ochre. The early people in New Zealand spent most of their time on the coast, in temporary or permanent settlements. Here a woman offloads the result of a day's fishing, while two men busy themselves manufacturing stone tools and bonefish hooks. This gallery is dedicated to the first settlers of Aotearoa, New Zealand, the Tangata Wenua, people of the land, who arrived about 800 years ago, and to the now extinct moa, the giant flightless birds they hunted. Moa were hunted and killed in large numbers in the forest that covered most of New Zealand when the first people arrived. The large flightless birds probably had little fear of this moa hunter, Maori, and were easy prey. Their huge eggs were also taken for food and for use as water containers. The Christchurch Botanic Gardens, located next to the Canterbury Museum in the city's cultural precinct, were founded in 1863 when an English oak was planted to commemorate the solemnization of the marriage of Prince Albert and Princess Alexandra of Denmark. The Peacock Fountain was bought by the Christchurch Beautifying Society from money bequeathed by John Thomas Peacock, a trader, politician, and philanthropist. The fountain was unveiled in 1911, moved to a new location some years later, and put into storage in 1949. After a $270,000 renovation, it was commissioned again in 1996, in its third location in the Christchurch Botanic Gardens. The curator's house is a busy hub for visitors to the Botanic Gardens. It was opened as a restaurant in 2000, but was built in 1920 for the curator of the Botanic Gardens. Monument honoring William Sefton Moorhouse, to whose energy and perseverance Canterbury owes the tunnel between the port and the plains. The Christchurch Arts Centre was a hub of arts, crafts and entertainment. It is located in the neo-Gothic former University of Canterbury buildings, the majority of which were designed by Benjamin Mountfort and built of grey basalt and limestone facings. Earthquake damage to the passage that connects the two buildings, which was not strengthened after 2008, has compromised the safety of the entire block. The complex is closed and is undergoing major repair work. Will open again in stages, with the last buildings expected to reopen in 2019. About the Great Hall. A classroom space was in short supply. A hall was considered a luxury for Canterbury College. The building opened to both acclaim and controversy on Diploma Day 1882. The Great Hall provides a strong reflection of local heritage and culture. The building makes rich use of native timbers. In 1938, a large memorial window was dedicated to the sacrifices of college students in the First World War. This is what we missed on the drive back to Akaroa because our tour bus left Christchurch without us. A visit to a farm to witness the athleticism of champion sheepdogs during a herding demonstration and the skill of a sheep shearer.
Yeah. Yeah. Just waiting for my mother.
Is there one sheep in
Luckily, we were able to join another tour bus that was returning to Akaroa in time for us to go back to the celebrity solstice before she set sail towards the netting. This is the gap where the Pacific Ocean comes in.
I said I okay.
Yeah. No, I debated.
Then it was time to say goodbye to scenic Banks Peninsula. And once again we were ready to enjoy the evening entertainment on board the Celebrity Solstice. Celebrity Showtime, hosted by cruise director Eddie, presented Jane Cho and her electric violin. Her show featured music from classics to the Beatles, Queen, and more.